If witchcraft, magic, mediums, psychics, and diviners are real, then we must assume that God and the Bible are also real. We have all been deceived by mainstream media and we don't even know it. Unknowingly, we've immersed our lives in sorcery and witchcraft. Magic and witchcraft are both forms of Satanism. Watch until the end, and I will show you what a high priestess from the Church of Satan has to say about magic. We have been made to see sorcery and witchcraft as a normal part of our everyday lives. There are hundreds of popular songs, video games, movies, cartoons, books, business logos, themes, toys and food labels that represent magic, witchcraft, and sorcery. Christmas, which was a holiday created to celebrate the birth of Christ, has been replaced with Santa and magic. The only way Frosty the Snowman came alive was through magic. Santa Claus flies his sled and goes down chimneys by magic. Let's look at the Webster Dictionary to see what the word magic actually means. The use of means such as charms or spells believed to have supernatural power over natural forces. What are some synonyms to the word magic according to the Webster Dictionary? Bewitchment, devilry, necromancy, sorcery, voodooism, and witchcraft. With each passing day, witchcraft increasingly infiltrates our daily lives. If we pay attention, we will see that our world is dominated by magic and we see it everywhere. All you have to do is pay attention. We see a battle of magic early in the Bible where Pharaoh's sorcerers battle Moses with their sorcery. Pharaoh's people used magic against Moses, and he battled them with the power of God. Moses was able to easily defeat Pharaoh's witches and sorcerers. Ancient Egyptians were very knowledgeable in the secrets of magic and divinity. The Book of Enoch, which is not part of our Bible, but is considered to have some historical or theological interest, tells us that magic was introduced to us by the Watchers. Who are the Watchers? The Watchers are fallen angels in the Bible. In other words, they are demons. These angels were supposed to look over humankind. Instead, some of them saw the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. Genesis chapter 6, verse 1 through 4. When human beings began to increase in number on the earth and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. Then the Lord said, "My spirit will not contend with humans forever, for they are mortal. Their days will be 120 years. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God went to the daughters of humans and had children by them. They were the heroes of old, men of renown. The Bible describes a half-man, half-fallen angel species that was born from this angel and human mix, and they were called Nephilim. The Book of Enoch goes into great detail on these Watchers and Nephilim. The Bible speaks of tribes of giants who are descendants of the Nephilim. The Bible also speaks of many giants by name. Most were rulers. The most popular giant is Goliath. Goliath, according to the Bible, was 6 cubits and a span tall, which is about 9 feet 6 inches. Legends of giants are found in all cultures. If you research giants and archeological findings, you will find them all throughout ancient history. Many of us believe these stories to be fairy tales, but in ancient times, things were different than they are now. In ancient times, there were dinosaurs. If we did not have fossils to back it up, most of us would think they were fairy tales as well. The Bible also describes dragons in the book of Job. God goes into great detail in describing a dragon in Job 41, verses 12 through 34. Numerous individuals seek guidance from witches, palm readers, psychics, and mediums. If you've consulted with one of these practitioners who genuinely dedicate themselves to their craft, you'll recognize their ability to reveal details about your past and present. As Satan knows your past and present, but he cannot tell you your future as only God knows your future. Famous celebrity psychic Sally Morgan, who has given psychic readings to celebrities like Uma Thurman, George Michael, and the late Princess Diana, admits that a psychic cannot accurately tell you the future. Here is a quote from her website, Sally Morgan TV. She wrote a blog titled, "What Can Psychic Readings Tell You About the Future?" I quote, "While no psychic can predict the future with absolute certainty, a reading can provide valuable insights and guidance about what is likely to happen in the future. First and foremost, it's important to understand that the future is not set in stone. I believe that psychics, mediums, diviners, witches, and sorcerers are real and their powers are real. When we were younger, my wife consulted a high priest who was involved in Santeria. At the time, I didn't believe any of it, but he told my wife many things about her past and present that he could not have known. The things he told her were not generalized or vague. They were very specific to her life. How about the Ouija board? Having personally engaged with the Ouija board, I found its manifestations to be authentic, despite scientific explanations suggesting otherwise. According to science, the action of the board can be most easily explained by unconscious movements of those controlling the pointer, a psychophysiological phenomenon known as the ideomotor effect. The ideomotor phenomenon is a psychological phenomenon wherein a subject makes motions unconsciously. I am sorry, but this is one of the dumbest explanations for the Ouija board. I have seen these tests done on TV, but the explanation by science just makes no sense to me. Science struggles to comprehend the Ouija board, sometimes resorting to explanations that align with their understanding, but may lack logical coherence. I played it once and got freaked out when Satan presented himself as a little girl, and then told us he was not the little girl, but he was Satan. I assure you the Ouija board is real. My friend and I were trying to stop playing, but we could not because the spirit would not allow us to depart. According to belief, the spirit must bid farewell before ending the session with the board. Otherwise, it may remain in the vicinity where the game was played. After a brief interval, the spirit chose to bid farewell, prompting me to make a solemn promise never to engage with the Ouija board again. Ouija boards are sold in toy stores. Look at the history of the Ouija board and its origins, and then tell me if you believe the Ouija board should be sold in toy stores. Witchcraft has become so normal in our society that items like the Ouija board are sold in toy stores. Take time to analyze the cartoons you watch. Most Disney cartoons have to do with magic, sorcery, and some type of witchcraft. There are many popular TV shows, video games, and movies based on magic. Music has all types of magic and witchcraft associated with it across all genres. I will not get into details, but you can take the time and research this yourself, or just pay attention. God condemns these practices over and over again in the Bible. These practices do not come from God. If it does not come from God, then where does it come from? April 30th, 1966. The Church of Satan was founded. The following are excerpts on the churchofsatan.com website from an article written by a high priestess named Peggy Nadramia. Anton LaVey is the founder of the Church of Satan. He also wrote the Satanic Bible. The Church of Satan, the Satanic Philosophy, and the Satanic Bible all evolved together out of what Anton LaVey referred to as his magic circle. LaVey was making his living as an organist and a psychic investigator in the early 1960s as the world began to heave with unrest and change. They already felt they were practicing their own form of witchcraft. Who but Satan to represent their symbolic godhead? Magic, he told one journalist, is a way of life. Magic is just as important now in the Church of Satan as it was in 1966. It began with a magic circle. That circle may be said to be much, much wider. Dozens of music artists have openly confessed to worshiping Satan. You have music groups like 3-6 Mafia. Have you noticed that their name is the mark of the beast, 3-6 Mafia? World-renowned singer and rapper Lil Nas X created a sneaker dedicated to Satan, and they sold out immediately. CNN reported on March 29, 2021, rapper and singer Lil Nas X launched a controversial pair of Satan shoes featuring a bronze pentagram, an inverted cross, and a drop of real human blood, and they sold out almost immediately. CNN reports that these shoes sold out in less than 5 minutes. Open your eyes, people. How much more direct and how much more plain it is to see that you are being deceived by Satan to think that this is all a joke or some type of art. If you call yourself a Christian, how do you buy these shoes and how do you listen to this artist's music? He has millions and millions of fans and is one of the top artists in the world. I can give you dozens and maybe hundreds of examples of different music artists and actors from all genres that have dedicated their life to Satan. Some artists like Lil Nas X will not hide it and come out openly about it, and some will incorporate it into their art and camouflage it. Let's take a look at mediums like Tyler Henry or John Edward. These guys claim they talk to the dead. Guess what? I believe them, as this is biblical. 1 Samuel chapter 28, verse 6 through 16. Saul consulted a woman who talks to the dead, and she raised up the ghost of the prophet Samuel, who seemed upset that Saul brought him up this way. 1 Chronicles chapter 10 verse 13. Saul died because he was unfaithful to the Lord. He did not keep the word of the Lord and even consulted a medium for guidance. Mediums can conjure the dead and allow you to speak to a family member, but God has forbidden us from consulting mediums. It is an abomination to God. Deuteronomy 18 verses 9 through 12. When you come into the land that the Lord your God is giving you, you shall not learn to follow the abominable practices of those nations. There shall not be found among you anyone who burns his son or his daughter as an offering, anyone who practices divination or tells fortunes or interprets omens, or a sorcerer or a charmer or a medium or a necromancer, or one who inquires of the dead, for whoever does these things is an abomination to the Lord. And because of these abominations, the Lord your God is driving them out before you. There are famous psychics like John Edward and Tyler Henry. Tyler Henry has a pretty large following to include celebrities like the Kardashians, Amber Rose, Jaleel White, Carmen Electra, Rick Fox, Megan Fox, Rosalind Sanchez, and many other celebrities. John Edward has been on the Oprah Winfrey Show. He has worked with the Kardashians and with Dr. Phil. John Edwards' career started when a psychic called him out to follow the path. Once he was called out, he began studying in the occult section of the library. He began to study the occult, and this is where he acquired his so-called gift. While on the Howie Mandel podcast, John tells Howie Mandel that he dedicated himself to learning occult teachings. He now says that it is no longer called the occult, as it is now called New Age. John Edwards states that anyone can be psychic, and I agree. I don't believe that only certain people are born with this ability, as anyone can become a sorcerer, witch, medium, or psychic if they dedicate themselves to the craft. Dedicate yourself to Satan, and he will dedicate himself to you. While watching the interview John had with Howie Mandel, what stood out most to me was what he said about the evangelical church. John claims he was number 4 on the Vatican watch list. He states he wasn't really concerned with the Vatican, but he is really concerned about the Christian evangelist. He states that he has a very high concern for the evangelical Christian movement that is going on right now in the world, and specifically in the United States, as the occult is number 4 on their agenda. This was pretty interesting. Why was he not concerned of being number 4 on the Vatican watch list, but he is concerned of being number 4 on the evangelical Christian watch list? The Vatican has a stronger political power than evangelical Christians. Could it be that the evangelical Christians are spiritually stronger than the Vatican, and the spirits in him are afraid to confront the power of the living God? Definitely something to think about. This statement by John Edwards put the biggest smile on my face and confirmed my faith. I will add this video to the link below for you to check for yourself, as the entertainment industry has been saturated with magic, witchcraft, divination, sorcery, and openly have confessed to Satanism. We must assume these things are real. These entities are powerful people who control what we listen to and what we watch. They control what music gets played on the radio. They control what movies or shows make it on television. They are making Satanism, witchcraft, and magic seem fun and cool, and they are being very successful. An article by USA Today journalist Deena Yelin on October 28, 2021 sums it all up. I quote, "But now, on the heels of the wildly successful Harry Potter series and Twilight films, and with an array of witches showing up on social media, witchcraft isn't considered spooky anymore. It's gone mainstream. The numbers of Americans who identify with Wicca or paganism has risen from 134,000 in 2001 to nearly 2 million today, according to Helen Berger, a resident scholar at Brandeis University's Women's Studies Research Center, who has conducted extensive research and authored 4 books about witches and pagans. The witch community in America has been growing steadily since the 1960s, she said, and much of the recent growth is coming from young women. Satan and magic are real, and our children are being deceived. The Bible states Satan camouflages himself as an angel of light. Our kids and youth are taking in all of this music, video games, movies, and cartoons. They are being exposed to witchcraft on social media. If the number of witches jumped from 134,000 up to 2 million in 20 years, where will our society be in 40 years? I hope this video helped open your eyes to the world around us. If Satan and magic are real, then God and the Bible must be real as well. Check out this next video as we look into Santeria, a quickly rising satanic religion that hides behind Christianity. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.